What's going on, guys? It's TES Hink, and I'm going to be bringing you another Adobe After Effects tutorial today. What we're going to be going over is the anamorphic flare, or the glare, or the glow, or whatever it's called. It's pretty much just the streaks that you see going across your screen. The streaks of light, sometimes are red or blue, things like that. There's already something built into Magic Bullet Looks that does this. It's my dog shaking in the back. Ignore that. But there is already something in Magic Bullet Looks that does this. But the way I'm going to do it gives you a much higher level of customization. And personally, I don't really like Magic Bullet Looks. I don't really use it that much. I pretty much only use the bleach bypasses in that. And I will use the anamorphic glare every now and then if I just want something quick and simple. But if I'm doing something that I want to be a little more bold, then I absolutely will not touch Magic Bullet Looks for this. So let's go ahead and hop into After Effects. And I already got my clip right here. I'm just going to throw some curves on that, color correct it a little bit before we get started. Just brighten it up. Alright, so let's go ahead and pre-compose this. And now let's duplicate this layer. And the first method we are going to do is going to be the red or the blue or pretty much any kind of colored flare. This is just one of the two methods I'm going to show you. So we're going to add on threshold. Alright, and now we're just going to up this until we get pretty much just the areas we want flares coming off of. You know, if we have flares coming off everything that's white here, that's just going to be a lot, and it's going to be really overpowering. So let's just go right here. You know, we get it off the sky and a few parts of the gun. Maybe go up a little bit more. Right about there works. And if you really wanted to, you could mask parts out, but that would just take way too long. Anyways, next part is to go ahead and fast blur. You can also use Gaussian blur. I'm going to use fast blur. Alright, now let's change this to horizontal. And then here comes the flare. It's pretty much all you do. You can also add another fast blur, so let's duplicate that. Horizontal and vertical, and let's take this down to maybe 2. You know, if you don't want the edges to be so solid, you can just kind of blur it a little bit. And now we colorize it by going to hue and saturation. God damn it. Alright, just drop that on. Hit colorize. Bring the saturation up. And then you can change it to whatever color you want. And that's pretty much it for that. And just come over here and change the blending mode to add or lighten, either one. So you can come back in here. You can change this back to 0, which would be red. You can bring this up a lot, which would make it more of just a glow instead of a streak. And I say be quiet. I don't know if you can hear him, but he's whining a little bit. Anyways, so that is one method. You know, you would keep this layer underneath your color correction, whatever your color correction is. Let's go ahead and add one real quick. New adjustment layer. Let's just go with that. And let's bring this vibrance all the way down, and this back up. That looks pretty neat. Bring that up a little bit. Alright, that looks pretty cool. And you would always excuse me, want to keep this below the adjustment layer, or else it will just look kind of dumb. Anyways, next method is, let's go ahead and delete all of these and change that back to normal. Alright, let's go ahead and go with, first thing we're going to do is fast blur. Very first. That's not at all what I meant to do. Drag on that one. Alright, repeat edge pixels, change this to horizontal only, and go ahead and start blurring this. I'm going to go, let's just go to about 400 something. Fuck it, YOLO. Next thing we're going to add is curves. I can't type with one hand. So throw some curves on there. And we're going to crush these blacks quite a bit. Bring that up. Alright, that's looking about how we want it. let's go ahead and make this a lot. Alright, so right about there. If we want them brighter, of course, just brighten it up. If you want them longer, actually, you're going to have to decrease the contrast. Excuse me. Alright, then we're just going to add one more fast blur to this one. This one will, this obviously keeps all your flares the color of what they are, pretty much what the light's coming off of. So repeat, and then we can obviously just blur this by maybe 2. Alright, and then of course you would come back, change that to add, and bam, it gives you a pretty nifty little look. Maybe screen, make it not as bright. It's pretty neat if you ask me. Bring these curves, make it a little darker. Alright, and this one you can do the same method with the hue and saturation, and drop it on and hit colorize. Bring the saturation up. Same thing, both work equally well. You get a lot more customization this way as opposed to just dropping the Magic Bullet Looks one on there. And this one, you know, you don't have to go back all the way back into Magic Bullet Looks and then save your preset again, etc., etc. This one you can even go clip by clip. But what I recommend if you don't want to go clip by clip is to edit out after you're done editing the entire montage. Save this process for last, pre-compose everything onto one layer, and then duplicate the layer and start from there. That's my recommendation. Anyways, it's been TES Hink, and leave a comment, tell me what you thought, tell me what you want my next tutorial to be over, and I of course will take it into consideration. Excuse me. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Deuces.